Hello, everybody. Good good evening. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This you can hear me. Say you can hear me.
Good evening, sir. Can
Good
hear you.
evening. All right. So nice to have you. I think we will be holding forth for others to join. This class is scheduled for 8:30. We are about 3 minutes away from the class. So we will not log out. Just stay on. Um, until others join us so that when they come on board, they'll know that we are all here and they'll be able to join us. But I think that'll be fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Don't touch.
A CNN Freedom Project special. Many young boys.
Once again, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to this median contact. If you can hear me, just indicate that you're hearing me.
I can hear you, sir.
I want to be certain you can hear me.
I can hear you, sir.
All right.
I can hear you too, sir.
I can hear you, sir.
These voices are sounding family. Is it family or familiar? Yeah, good to have you again. I'll be talking with you on managerial economics.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Okay. I hope we're on the same page.
Yes, sir.
All right. This time around, it's not corporate finance, neither is it research. It is managerial economics. Okay, so we'll be looking at managerial economics. I start out immediately. I want us to realize the fact that the semester is far gone, and to a very large degree, I'll be fast. A lot of work is expected of you. A lot of work is expected of you, and you are also expected to move at an appreciable speed as much as I will be moving. And for those who are not in this class today, I want to bet you that they are going to miss a whole lot, because from the blast of the whistle will mean business, and we actually do not have a lot of time at our disposal. But just believe that we'll make the most out of the whole thing. In fact, by the end of today, I should be able to get through the first model, not first unit. I said first model. I want to get through the first model by the end of today's class. Now, I start out. The course is managerial economics. Managerial economics, as you may find out, is a combination of two disciplines: management and economics. Management and economics. So it is the marriage of management to economics, or you can see it as the application of economic principles in management. Application of economic principles and concepts and practices in management. Okay. Now, why did it become necessary for economic concepts to be brought into management? What actually led to the evolution of managerial economics? Three things majorly. Now, as the business world became more complex, as businesses grew, the decision-making processes became tougher. Decision criteria needed to improve. So, one of the best places to find such decision tools and techniques and decision science would be in economics. So, there is the introduction, the borrowing, or the adoption of economic principles into management because of the growing complexity of business decision-making processes. Then number two, the increasing use of economic logic. Economics is a very strategic decision science. The manager manages resources. It is obvious that economic resources are scarce, relatively scarce, meaning that they are always needed more than is available. The demand is always higher than the supply. So because of that, it became extremely necessary to begin to adopt economic logic in handling even simple decision-making processes. And then management became more complex. There was the need for more professional managers who are vast and at home with decision-making. And these managers, because of their professional nature, are exposed to the different arts and practice of economics. So they, not by compulsion, were bringing in their expertise, their business decision-making know-how. They were introducing it into management of businesses. And over time, it evolved. All these processes evolved into what we today refer to as managerial economics. So, three major things. One, the growing complexity of the business decision-making processes. Two, the increasing use of logic and decision sciences, even in the simplest of all business decisions. 3, the infiltration or the influx of professional managers into the business environment. And obviously, as they were coming, they came in with their tools and techniques. And these tools and techniques included economic tools and processes. All right. So in the light of that, let us very quickly attempt a definition of managerial economics. I'd like you to think about this. Let's disaggregate the two concepts. Let's separate management on one hand and economics on the other hand. Management is, we all know, has tripartite definition. Management can be a process. Management can be a team of managers. Management can be a discipline. As a process, it involves the deployment or coordination of human and material resources of an enterprise and channeling them towards specific goals. Then, as a discipline, what are we doing right now? We are having a discussion on management. So if we are studying management, we are actually exposed to management as a discipline, as a field of study. Then management can also be seen as a team of managers. When you have together people who manage human and material resources in an organization, you can always refer to them as the management of the organization. Like if you say the management of CDEL, what are you referring to? You are referring to a team of managers, a group of people who coordinate the things that happen at CDEL. So having established that on one hand, let us also look at economics. If we would borrow the definition of Professor Lionel Robbins of Cambridge University, given in 1945, he said economics is a social science that is concerned with human behavior, or that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Economics is not concerned with all the behavioral aspects of man. Economics is concerned with a certain aspect of human behavior. And this aspect of human behavior is man's behavior as it relates to how he deploys his limited resources in achieving his numerous wants. The way man behaves, the totality of man's conduct or behavior, when it has to do with his limited resources and his numerous wants. One striking thing that Professor Robinson said in explaining the evaluation criteria of economic problems, he said that whenever or wherever scarce resources are met with numerous wants, there lies an economic problem. That whenever or wherever scarce resources are met with numerous wants, there lies an economic problem. That is Professor Robinson's postulation. And as a result of that, if we can put that simply, we can see economics as how man, or the study of how man deploys the little he has to achieve the much he wants. The little he has to achieve the much he wants. That's what economics is all about. So when we put that together, we can now see that economics is full of theories. It has laws. There are logics. There are principles, that underlie the study of economics. So when these principles are deployed in the coordination of human and material resources and are directed towards the achievement of set goals, that is managerial economics. So if you would understand what I mean, we have succeeded in blending management with economics to form the discipline that we know as managerial economics. I'm going to unmute you right now to be able to say or hear from you whether you are actually following what I'm saying. Please, Oguamanama, are you following me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Joseph, how do you are here?
Yes,
Okay. Please, let's try as much as we can to put a name on our device so that I can address you properly. Please rename your device so that we know who you are. Galaxy J7 Pro. Who's that, please? Hello.
I'm here, sir. I'm currently changing the name now, sir.
Okay, please do. Okay. All right. Simon, you can hear us.
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, Laura, how are you doing? You can hear us.
Yes, sir, I can.
Please, the other name. Can I pronounce? Help me pronounce the name, please. I'll find it difficult so I don't corrupt the name. The name after Laura, please. Is that
Rafika.
Rufikat, okay, Rufikat. Okay, sorry about that. I tried, I couldn't get it right. Okay, Rufikat, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Henry, you can hear me? Henry, unmute yourself and say whether you can hear me. Some of you, you don't have your audio device on. Kindly put on your audio device, like Oluwaseun, Anyakora. You don't have your audio device on. Henry, can you hear me? All right. Okay. So I believe I've been able to make a good introduction to managerial economics. Can somebody just reiterate what I said? Someone reiterate what I said. Can Ogwamanam reiterate what I said?
Okay. If you can hear me,
I can hear you very well.
All right. I joined a little bit late, but from what I understood where I joined, basically told us that economic skills is employment or various ones or unlimited ones, and management is any team of coordination of activities in an organization. So therefore, managerial economics is the application of principles or theories or logic that applies to the allocation of scarce resources to meet unlimited ones in the organization. Yeah.
Okay. So when we contextualize economics in management, you put economics in the context of what? Management of human and material world resources. You will have managerial world economics. And of course, I like us to note the 5 M's in management. You remember them? Do you remember the 5 M's in management? Can anybody help us? Rufikat, please stop the background noise. Laura, check the background noise. Can anybody help us mention the 5 M's in management?
Okay, sir. There is man.
Man, yes.
Material.
Material. There is money. Hello? Are we still together?
Yes.
There's man, there's material, there's money, there's machine,
And there's method.
No. The fifth one coordinates the first four. And the fifth one is what we are talking about here, which is what? Management. Right? You have manpower, that's man. You have material. You have machines. You have money. And then you have what? Management. Of course, method, principles, processes are all embedded in what? Management. They are all embedded in management. So, which means the most important M in the 5 M's is what?
Management.
Management. Reason. It is management that gets man. Management gets money. Management gets material. Management gets machines. Is that okay? So,
Yes, sir.
when we now apply economic principles in this management process, that is when we have managerial what? Economics. Now, there are some definitions. We have quite about 5 definitions.
Management.
We have about 5 definitions of managerial economics that are contained in your study manual. I would like you to go through them. Like the one by Henry and Hens, Guividi, Spencer and Segelman, have Manfield, you have Davis and Chang, all their definitions of managerial economics. I'm not going to start going through that. And on that note, I've knocked off the first unit. I'm moving over to the next unit. You know, managerial economics, as it stands, is not a discipline of its own. All right? I'd like you to unmute your mic. I want responses, please. Just unmute your mic and be discretionary enough to discount background noise. Unmute your mic so I can hear ourselves. Okay, I was saying that managerial economics is like the moon. You know, the moon does not give light. Rather, the moon receives light from other heavenly bodies and discharges same. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You know, elementary science teaches us that the moon does not have light of its own. It just positions itself as an outlet for light produced by other heavenly world bodies, specifically the sun. So managerial economics is not considered as a discipline of its own. It is an aggregation of different other disciplines. Several other disciplines are brought together in managerial world economics. So it is important for us to understand the interdisciplinary relationship of managerial economics. You know, the interdisciplinary relationship of managerial world economics. We established 2. Even from our definitions, we have established what? 2, which are what and what?
Management principles and theories.
Management principles and theories.
And theories.
And then general
Decision
economic
science.
what?
General
Theory.
economics.
Okay, now, if you look at economics very well, you know there are 2 major aspects of economics. The first is microeconomics, and the next is macroeconomics. We have microeconomics and we have macroeconomics. You know, microeconomics is concerned with the behavior of the individual economic units. You know, the individual economic unit like the household, the firm, the market, and all
Product
that.
nature.
You know, productivity, demand and supply, and all that. Then, but when you're looking at macroeconomics, you are looking at the economy from a holistic perspective. The general economy from the economic in managerial economics. And then we look at decision sciences. When we look at decision sciences, one of the commonest things that should come to your mind is statistics. Look at statistics, operational research, and all that. They are also present in managerial economics. In other words, as you study managerial economics, you are exposed to management principles and theories. Look at issues concerned with planning. Of course, we realize that the most important function of management is what? Planning. Do you agree with me? Does anybody disagree with me?
No, sir.
The most important function of management is planning. True or false?
True.
There's what we call the primacy of planning. Primacy of planning. Primacy. Primacy of what? Planning. What does that mean? It means planning comes first in all the functions of what? Management. The reason is that you can't control when there is no plan. You can't organize when there is no plan. You can't staff when there is no plan. You can't motivate when there is no plan. You can't make image when there is no plan. All other functions of management are offshoots of planning. In other words, it begins with planning. So there is a primacy of planning. So in managerial economics, as you plan, as you control, as you make decisions, as you do all that, there are instances where you apply management principles, you apply macroeconomic principles, you apply microeconomic principles, decision sciences are brought in as and distinctive management functions. All right. Now, we also see that in managerial, we've seen the four key things actually. One, microeconomics, macroeconomics, decision sciences. All of them put together form the discipline managerial economics. So when you are asked a question such as managerial economics is not a discipline in itself, I should highlight or discuss the interdisciplinary nature of managerial economics. When a question like that comes, you know what to say. For those of you who are very used to my style, you know that as I talk, I let you know my examinable topics. So you should take note of that and be able to react accordingly and be able to prepare yourself along that line. Remember, exams are close by. We are barely a few weeks away from the end of the semester. So the semester is ending as it started. Well, I didn't say that to scare you. I said that to put you on reasonable alert so that you can begin to see the end from the beginning. Okay. So, and that's that. So then the next question becomes, how relevant is managerial economics? How relevant is managerial economics? Is it something that is worth studying? We've seen the meaning, we've seen the interdisciplinary nature of managerial economics, and then one begins to ask yourself, how relevant is managerial economics? When we acquire knowledge, we tend to do so for the purposes of using them to achieve set purposes. For example, the utility is not in the acquisition of knowledge. The utility is in the application of knowledge. So we want to see the relevance of managerial economics. Now, there are 5 key areas that we have identified in discussing the relevance of managerial economics. Now, the first one is demand analysis and forecasting. We have cost and production analysis. We have pricing decisions,
Pricing decisions.
policies and practice. We have profit management, and we have capital what management.
Management.
You know, there is what is called the principal budget factor. The principal budget factor. In Nigeria, for example, our principal budget factor, because of our monocultural nature, is the price of crude oil. So the government will not think of budget without having thought of the benchmark for the price of crude oil, because that is our principal budget factor. Remove crude oil from our budget, there'll be no budget. You know, so that is the point. So, and then for an organization, the principal budget element is turnover, that's sales. You know, it is sales that determines what to have, the volume of goods to produce. It is your turnover that will determine how many people to employ. It is your turnover that will determine salary payments. So the principal budget factor of any organization is this word, turnover. So that means it is important for you to look at what the market says about your product and services. And that is making reference to demand. You know, because demand talks about the buyer's response to your offerings. You know, how does the market respond to your offering? How does the market respond to the goods and services that you make available? What is the quantity of your product that buyers are willing to buy at a price and at a time? You know, analyzing your demand, making forecasts. You know, most times you don't wait until there is demand for your product before you produce. You produce ahead of time. And then these goods are inventorized. You produce and they are inventorized. So how will you know the volume to produce if you're not able to effectively forecast the demand for your products and services? So that is where managerial economics steps in to assist you, because it provides a ground for reasonable and near accurate forecast of the demand for your products and what services. Okay. Now, next to that is cost and production what analysis. Another very important thing. Another very important thing that a firm gives attention to is cost. What is cost? Cost is like what is given out in pursuit of what is required. You know, the sacrifice for the produced goods and what services. Now, a firm should be able to know its cost. Demand analysis will give you an insight into your revenue. But before you determine how profitable the firm can always be or will be, you have to put revenue side by side with costs. So, and most of these costs, some of them vary as time varies. Some of them are constant. Some of them, they have different characteristics. There are different nuances of cost. And as a result of that, the firm must give attention to its cost and production analysis. So in the light of that, managerial economics provides a ready tool, or maybe provide tools and techniques that guide in cost and production analysis. Then the next thing is we look at pricing. Price is the exchange value of a firm's product and services. The exchange value of a firm's product and services is called what? Price. And remember, you don't determine your price arbitrarily. You know, one of the major problems in pricing is finding the appropriate exchange value that won't be too high to throw you out of the market, or too Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I had a brief interruption. Okay. All right. Like I was saying, pricing is important because it is a question of what is the right price, the right price for the right what product. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can.
So
Yes, I can
pricing
hear you now.
what the right price for the right what product. It is not as simple as that. You know, there are so many factors that are brought into consideration: the competitor variable, the environment variable, the consumer variables, and all that. Several variables that play in pricing decisions. So managerial economics provides us with tools and techniques to ensure that we make the right pricing decisions. You know, depending on also the kind of market you operate, that's the market structure. For example, pricing in an oligopolistic setting can never be pricing in a monopolistic setting. Pricing in monopolistic competition cannot be the same with pricing in perfect competition. So these are different scenarios. And so managerial economics provide you with tools and techniques that will guide you in effective and efficient pricing. So we look at management of profit management. You know, the business environment is full of uncertainty. And you also realize that, like we did in corporate finance, we talked about investment analysis. You know, how do you take advantage of investment opportunities? How do you ensure that what you put in is always less than what you take out? You know, a businessman is a greedy man who will always want to have more than he puts in. You know, how do you ensure that that happens? How do you ensure that you put the right money in the right venture at the right time for the right profit margin? Now, these are all things that may border on your profit management. How do you ensure that you make enough profit that will keep you afloat? You know, how much is too much and how little of profit is too little. These are things that, you know, that border on profit planning, you know, projections and all that. You know, remember, for every ounce of profit made, an ounce of risk has been taken. For every pound of profit made, a pound of risk must have been taken, because the business environment is full of risk and uncertainty. So profit is like the reward for taking risk. The reward for taking risk is what? Profit. Are we together?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Hello. So the reward
Yes, we can hear you.
for taking risk is what? Profit. So, and the reward for not taking risk is what? When a business
Loss.
does not take risk or takes miscalculated risk, when you misjudge your risk content, when you take the wrong kind of risk, you end up on the loss, you know. So this profit planning. And then you look at capital management, it focuses on capital investment appraisal. You know, how do you appraise capital? No, you know, it's a very complex NPV sense. Economics exposes us to demand analysis, cost and production analysis, pricing analysis,
Kindly hold on. I think his network got bad, and I'm trying to restore him back. So just give us a minute, please. Okay, he's back. He's back. Hello, Dr. Carlo. Do we have you back, sir?
Yes, I'm back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we're saying that basically that Nigerian economics tries to address 5 major issues for us, or it addresses 5 major issues for us, which are
Life class.
demand forecasting, then production and cost analysis. It looks at profit management. It looks at capital management. It also looks at it profiles costs, cost analysis. So and that's that. So on the first model, we've looked at definitional issues. We've looked at the interdisciplinary relationship with managerial economics, and we looked at the relevance of managerial economics. And I still have like the next 12 minutes to keep moving on. Except you want to pause me by way of questions before I move on to price mechanism. Remember, I said pricing, demand forecasting, cost and production analysis, capital management, profit management, and all that. So we are now getting into them one by one. So are there questions? Just ask questions so we can move on. Questions, comments. Collins is here. So good, Collins, good to see you. I'm waiting. Chike, is there any questions?
No, sir.
You are good, right?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
Laura, any question? You're good?
We're fine, sir.
Okay. Joseph, any question? You're good, right?
I'm good, sir.
Joined us late. Is Chukuma good? Are we okay? Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can move on, sir.
All right. So I'd like to start talking about price mechanism. Well, it's one of the most central themes in economics, more so in managerial economics. Price is important. Price is important for any organization. Like I tried to mention earlier, that the principal budget factor for any organization is revenue. Be it a merchandising firm or a service offering firm, the most important thing is revenue. And the unit structure of revenue is price. The unit structure of revenue is price. So revenue per unit is price. Price is revenue per unit. Price is what? Revenue per unit. So issues that border on price is important. The revenue and output driver of any firm. And so it is focused on at the Hello? Hello? Can I still be heard?
Yes, sir. You can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
So, all right. Now, when we look at price mechanism, we are looking at the interplay of demand and supply in price determination. The interaction of demand and supply in price determination. A firm should be able to give attention to the price of its product, because in a free market economy, such as
Sorry, we apologize. I'm trying to get Dr. Kalu back.
Okay, noted.
So please, when hello.
Hello?
It's when are we starting? Anybody here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carlo needs to be back. We're working to get him back. I think his network has a little issues.
I just joined, so I don't know if.
Okay, there has been a class going on before you joined, so he'll be back soon. I think his network is misbehaving. Hello, Sam. Yes, I'm waiting on you. I noticed, so I'm waiting to add you back. Yes, sir. I apologize for the time. Still trying to get Dr. Carlo back.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, we apologize for we migrated. Let me make this announcement. We migrated to a new Zoom platform, and these are actually the first time of using it. Unlike the one we're using that had 40 minutes lifespan, this one has an unlimited lifespan. So we migrated to that recently, and these are the very first time of using it. And then take it that we are test running the platform. Probably that's why we're having this intermittent break off. So, but I know it will get better with time. So you just do kindly bear with us. All right.
All right. No
So we'll continue from where we left off. We are looking at price mechanism. I said it borders on what? The interaction of demand and what? Supply. And I also said something about price mechanism being the source of answer to economic questions such as what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and efficient allocation of resources, especially in a free market economy. All right. Then I like to talk about the three major rules of price mechanism, and that is probably where I'm going to wrap up for tonight. The three major rules of price mechanism. Now, the first one is the signaling function. Changes in market condition are indicated by price mechanism. When there's a change in price, it tells consumers that things are no longer the same. When there's a change in price, it also tells suppliers that things are no longer the same. So it signals to consumers and suppliers changes in market condition. As price change, is there excess supply? Is there excess demand? Is demand and supply at equilibrium? All these issues are addressed they are signaled or made or indicated by price mechanism. Then the next one is that it leads to transmission of preferences. Choices are made on the basis of price. I want to buy a car. I said, for example, I didn't say I want to buy a car now. For example, I want to buy a car. I go to the car stand. I get to the car stand and I check out cars. The preference can be influenced by the price of these cars.
That's right.
Consumer preferences can be influenced by the prices of the products in display. Even suppliers' preferences. The suppliers can have preference for producing or offering one product over another on the basis of what? Price. So it can provide the guide, transmission of preferences, suppliers' preference, consumers' preference. They can be influenced by what? Price. And then the last one is a rationing function. Rationing what? Function. If you go to the market, like a woman that's been given a certain amount of money to prepare a pot of soup, the collection of ingredients you will use or you will buy, the things you buy in the market, will be a function of price. How you ration that money given to you across different items will largely depend on the prices of these items. Because if you know what we call budget line, I like to talk about it. I wish I had a blackboard standing in front of me. I would have drawn the production possibility boundary or production possibility frontier. We know what is called production possibility frontier. Can we still remember that? Hello? Please talk to me.
Yeah, we are here, sir.
Can we remember production possibility boundary? That's yes. Production possibility curve. That shows how you ration your scarce resources at the point of optimality, operating at your best possible level. How do you share your scarce resources across competing ends? So the rationing that you will do, assuming I have 1,000 naira, how I distribute it across things I need to buy will be a function of the price of these things I want to buy. So price helps in rationing. Price helps us it provides a denominator when we are sharing our scarce resources across our ends. So it's important we know that. So majorly, price mechanism does what?
Hello, sir. Are you back now?
Okay, so I was saying something about rationing function and transmission of preferences. So those are the functions that play for us aside the traditional function that it plays in a market economy where it answers the question of what goods and services to produce, for whom are they to be made, and efficient allocation of resources. So we'll leave it off here. I think we've done quite a lot. We've actually gone through 4 units in the study manual. We've gone through 4 units in the study manual. So in the next contact, we'll begin to look at demand analysis. Demand analysis will contact. Your observations, your comments, and your inputs, just make them, let's talk about them before we wrap up for tonight. Kindly unmute yourself and say something. Waiting.
All right, thank you, Sir. I don't think I have any questions at this time. Hopefully at our next facilitation.
All right. A comment said that just the network. I hope we get better with time. Thank you, Henry, for your kind comment. Hope that's not like to patronize me. Madam Laura.
Okay. So sorry, I don't have any questions. I actually read it today, so it was clear when you were talking about it.
Monica. Henry has spoken. Simon. Tinola. She said it.
Yes, I'm very okay,
Please,
sir. Simon speaking.
Okay,
Yeah,
Simon, you're
Simon
okay.
speaking.
Okay, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
okay. Just that I do experience
Network interruptions.
During the class, like it's usually yes, sir. Hopefully by the next class,
All right. All right.
more better.
All right. All right. I think the recording is being done, which also they might place on your page, and that would help you.
Hello, sir. Hello? I just want to know. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, sir.
I'm
Thank
here.
you. I guess
Go ahead.
of course, this is the first meeting we're having, and
Yes.
sorry I joined halfway, but I'm sure I'm going to listen to the recording whenever it's been dropped. I just want to know if
run through 4 units in one class. So that means by the time we get to the 5th class, by the 5th contact, you should be sure that we would have okay. All right. I think at this moment we will have to adjourn. We'll meet again. That'll be next week or so. I'm hoping to be making it weekend, so I can have more of you participate.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good night.
And have a great night's rest, and see you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Night.
Night, sir.